Wednesday, March 17th, 2021, Maneco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. Today we're going to look at how the price of gold has bounced off the 38.2 retracement level or Fibonacci level. Many of you might ask, what is Fibonacci? Why do you look at technical analysis? Yes, and before I come to that, I'll talk a little bit about Fibonacci and who he was. So back in October of 2019, that was the last time my wife and I went abroad before the crisis started last year, the crisis, of course. And we went to Florence in Italy. And one of the days we were there, we took the train down to Pisa. And that's where you can see me here with this statue, standing by this statue. That is Fibonacci. The picture you see sometimes on my thumbnail by a green field, that's where the statue of Fibonacci is in Pisa. That's called Campo Santo. Translated to English, it's the Holy Field, but it's an old cemetery. So we're going to go over Fibonacci, and technical analysis is opposed to, of course, fundamental analysis. And when I started out in the business in the late 80s, I didn't look too much at technical analysis. It was only when I came to work in London in '92, and then I started as a futures and options broker, that I heard the first time someone say the Fibonacci retracement, and I was, what is Fibonacci? And they explained it to me, and I thought it was a little bit suspect. But over the years, I've looked into it, and the most important thing about Fibonacci, yeah, of course, he was a mathematician. His name was Leonardo of Pisa. Fibonacci just means that he was the son of Bonacci, who was a merchant from Pisa. And it's only about an hour ride from Florence by train, Pisa. So he came up with something called the Fibonacci Sequence or Fibonacci numbers. So we'll go over it here a little bit before we go into the chart of gold and the retracement it's made. I also recommend you watch a video that I did in October when I was in Florence. It's entitled Leonardo Fibonacci, the Golden Ratio and Florentine Banking. So I talk about the Golden Ratio because the retracement we made is the reciprocal of the Golden Ratio. The Golden Ratio is 61.8. This retracement is 38.2, and they are important in technical analysis. So Fibonacci numbers, in mathematics, the Fibonacci numbers, commonly denoted Fn, form a sequence called the Fibonacci sequence, such that each number is the sum of the two preceding numbers, starting from 0 and 1. So you get 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, and so on. And if you take any of those numbers and divide them, let's say you take the number 3 divided by 2, you get something like 1.61 or 1.625 sometimes in the beginning, but over the sequence they round off to 61.8, which is the golden mean. And if you do it the other way around, if you take let's say 13 divided by, or sorry, if you take 21 divided by 13, you get 1.618. That's the golden mean. So the history of these numbers, though, it's not Fibonacci that discovered them. According to Wikipedia here and other sources, it says the Fibonacci sequence appears in Indian mathematics in connection with Sanskrit prosody, as pointed out by Parmanand Singh in 1986. In the Sanskrit poetic tradition, there was interest in enumerating all patterns of long syllables of 2 units duration. So there you go. And I think as his father was a merchant, they traveled a lot along the Mediterranean, and I think Fibonacci Leonardo learned from people in the Middle East, the Arabs and the Muslim tradition. They were mathematicians. They were much more advanced than we were in the West. Fibonacci was around in the 12th century. He was born in 1170, died around 1240 or 1250. So that's where he learned about these numbers. And yes, the Fibonacci sequence is really interesting. And for example, the golden ratio is found everywhere in nature. It's found in markets. Markets are part of nature. For example, if you look at your hand, the distance from the bottom of your hand to here is 61.8 of the whole hand. There's many other things in nature. I think I spoke about that in the video from October 2019. So I'm not going to go through it here. But you can also Google Fibonacci, Fibonacci sequence, golden ratio, or golden mean, and there's a lot of information about it. So what about those people who say technical analysis doesn't work because the markets are manipulated? I don't really totally agree with that, because even within a manipulated market, these kind of studies do come up, or these kind of indicators like Fibonacci retracement. They just come up at a different price than maybe they should have been. Eventually, though, I think the market wins out. Governments and their agents cannot keep things controlled forever. So you probably want to know what this level is, this in the gold price, and this Fibonacci retracement. Well, it is on a monthly chart. I've been looking at this for almost 2 weeks because I wanted to see how things evolved. And you can see here, this chart is from the beginning of the century, basically, the price of gold here. And what I designed here is a teacup. The system I use doesn't have rounded curves that I can draw, so I had to do each line one at a time, so it doesn't look perfectly round, the teacup. But you can see that on a monthly basis, we just touched the teacup here, and I think it's just above it, but it's very close. The low was around 1675, I think, a monthly low in gold in March. And here's the Fibonacci retracement that I did. So I took the low from December 2015, which was around 1045. It's 1046 here. And I did the move from that low. That was the bear market low, of course, from the top in 2011. That was the bear market low. And then I measured it to the top we saw last year at 2075. And as you can see, the 38.2 retracement is 1682.29. And yes, it's not 1675, which was roughly the low this month. But as you will see if you look at this Fibonacci number sequence, these numbers sometimes are 61.8 or 62. Yes, and looking at it, it's a monthly chart going back years. So a few dollars here and there is expected. Nature is not perfect. You have, let's say, spring-like weather. Let's say in the winter, you get glacial, Siberian-like weather in Texas this year. So things are not perfect. So, but I think it's pretty good. How can I say? Bounce off that level. The other thing about the technical analysis is that a lot of times these Fibonacci levels and retracement levels, there's a lot of consolidation between the 38.5% and the 50%. So I guess gold, maybe the price is not out of the woods yet, but it looks pretty encouraging that we've bounced off that line and we've bounced off the 38.2%. That is, of course, the reciprocal of 61.8 or the golden mean. Sometimes it goes down to the 61.8 as well. But I have a feeling, looking at the real physical market in gold and the fact that we are still having a lot of shortages, the premiums are still really high, not just for silver, but for gold. I find it difficult to see gold going to the 1439 level, which is the 61.8, and even the 50% retracement there at 1560. So what's the difference between technical and fundamental analysis? Well, fundamental analysis is just a study of the outside world, supply and demand of the commodity, or the how the economy is doing, how inflation data is coming out, money supply and things like that. Things in the politics, how that affects the market, monetary policy, stimulus. Those are fundamentals, and that's fundamental analysis. A lot of people in the markets just stick to fundamentals. They think looking at charts or graphs, which is technical analysis of prices, is a waste of time. I tend to stick to both. I think, why not get as much information, be it from a fundamental analysis basis or a technical analysis basis? I think it's the more information you have, the better. So what's the conclusion here? Well, the conclusion here is that I think for now, gold is out of the woods. It's held that Fibonacci retracement level. It's held that line, that trend line as well. Am I promising that gold, or am I saying that gold is going to go back up really quickly? I don't know. But it could. And so there you go. Fibonacci retracement held there, 38.2. Yeah, I really recommend you look at Leonardo Pisano or Fibonacci, the Fibonacci sequence. It's very interesting subject for me, at least. It shows how universe is really, how numbers are important in the universe. With that, let's quickly look at where the markets are this morning. It's 8:23 a.m. London time. As I've said, we're only 4 hours ahead now of Eastern Standard Time. So it's basically probably a little later for people in the US than I usually do my video. Today, of course, we've got the FOMC announcements. The bond market, of course, is waiting anxiously, I would say, bond investors, for the Federal Reserve today, for the FOMC announcement and the press conference, of course, by Jay Powell. So, okay, so we've got spot gold right now, $1734.50, up $3. High has been $1738, low $1729. I think yesterday we got up to $1741 during the, I think it was around just before midday, New York, but then it came back down. But gold seems to be pretty steady right now. The ranges have narrowed, and there seems to be a little bit of stability. Silver got hit a little yesterday. Today it's back up a little bit here. We're up 5 cents, just around 26. The low's been 25.74 and the high 26.05. The Dow future is basically unchanged. NASDAQ future, 100 future is down 20 points, and the S&P future is down 2. Sterling is up slightly this morning, up 0.2% at 139.17. The euro is down slightly at 118.93. Dollars up 0.1% versus the yen at 109.15. And the dollar is unchanged versus the yuan at 650.40. High-grade copper is up 0.5% at 409. WTI crude is up 0.5% at 65.12. 10-year yield, 10-year treasury yield is fairly firm. It's near the recent highs. It's around 163 here, just above 163. So yeah, the FOMC announcement is at 2 p.m. New York time. The press conference is at starts at 2:30 p.m. New York. So there you go. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button. Please share it far and wide. Think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't yet. And you can also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and all these other platforms below here. I wish you all a great day. Take care. Bye.